On March 31, 2026, Representative Paulina Luna sent a letter that the Pentagon almost certainly did not want to receive. Addressed to Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, the letter carried a demand that was as specific as it was explosive. Declassify 46 military videos depicting unidentified anomalous phenomena. Not a vague call for transparency, not a symbolic gesture. 46, a precise number, drawn from the government's own internal accounting. Luna, a Republican from Florida's 13th District and a sitting member of the House Oversight Committee, wasn't guessing. She was citing material already catalogued by the Department of Defense's own All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. The question wasn't whether these videos exist. The Department of Defense has essentially acknowledged that they do. The question is why the American public has never been allowed to see them. To understand the weight of Luna's demand, you have to understand the road that led here. In December 2017, the New York Times published 3 Navy videos, now known as FLIR 1, Gimbal, and Go Fast, showing encounters between fighter pilots and objects that defied conventional explanation. The Pentagon didn't officially confirm these videos were authentic until April 2020. That 3-year gap between leak and acknowledgement set the template for how the government handles UAP footage: deny, delay, then quietly confirm when the pressure becomes unbearable. In 2022, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, was established under the National Defense Authorization Act to centralize UAP investigation. By 2023, AARO had received hundreds of reports. By 2024, its annual reports to Congress referenced a growing database of military sensor data, including video. And yet, in all that time, exactly 3 videos had been released to the public. 3, out of what we now understand to be at least hundreds. So where did Luna get the number 46? The specificity matters. According to reporting from Liberation Times, and corroborated by statements from congressional staffers with access to classified briefings, the figure comes from AARO's own internal case files, specifically cases involving military-grade sensor footage that AARO itself was unable to resolve. AARO's 2024 annual report to Congress noted that a subset of cases exhibited signatures that could not be attributed to known aircraft, drones, weather phenomena, or sensor artifacts. Some of these cases involved multiple sensor corroboration, meaning radar, infrared, and electro-optical systems all tracking the same object simultaneously. Luna's letter reportedly specifies that the 46 videos represent cases where objects demonstrated at least one of the 5 observables first articulated by researcher Luis Elizondo: anti-gravity lift, sudden acceleration, hypersonic velocity without visible propulsion, transmedium travel, or low observability. If accurate, these aren't ambiguous dots on a screen. They're the Pentagon's most compelling anomalies. Luna didn't arrive at this moment overnight. She was present at the landmark July 26, 2023 House Oversight Hearing, where David Grush, Ryan Graves, and David Fravor testified under oath. She pressed witnesses on the existence of crash retrieval programs and non-human biological material. In the months that followed, she publicly stated that she had been denied access to classified UAP programs despite holding appropriate security clearances, an allegation echoed by Representatives Tim Burchett, Matt Gaetz, and others. By 2025, Luna had become one of the most vocal members of Congress on the UAP transparency issue, co-sponsoring legislation that would mandate disclosure timelines and penalize agencies that withheld information from congressional oversight committees. Her March 2026 letter represents an escalation in both specificity and leverage. She isn't asking for a briefing. She's demanding the release of specific, enumerated evidence. If history is any guide, the Department of Defense will resist. The Pentagon's standard response to declassification demands follows a predictable pattern: cite sources and methods concerns, invoke operational security, and defer to classification authorities. When the 3 Navy videos were finally confirmed in 2020, the DoD stated the release was appropriate because the footage does not reveal any sensitive capabilities or systems and does not impinge on any subsequent investigations. The implicit logic: footage that does reveal capabilities remains classified. That reasoning creates a paradox. The more extraordinary the footage, the more likely it is to remain hidden, not because of what it shows about the objects, but because of what it reveals about our own sensor capabilities. Former AARO Director Sean Kirkpatrick, who departed the office in late 2023, has maintained that most cases have prosaic explanations. His successor, Tim Phillips, has been notably less public. The silence itself communicates something. Here's the genuine tension at the heart of this fight, and it deserves honest acknowledgement. Military sensor data is among the most tightly guarded information any nation possesses. Releasing infrared footage from an FA-18's anti-flare pod doesn't just show what the pilot saw. It reveals the resolution, range, tracking capability, and spectral sensitivity of systems that adversaries would love to understand. This is a legitimate concern, but it's also a concern that can be addressed through redaction, downgrading resolution, or selective release. Techniques the intelligence community uses routinely when declassifying historical material. The question Congress is increasingly asking isn't, should everything be released? It's, why has nothing been released since 2020, despite 6 years of growing evidence? Luna's letter, according to sources familiar with its contents, specifically requests that the DoD identify which of the 46 videos could be declassified with appropriate redactions, acknowledging the security concern while refusing to accept it as a blanket excuse. Luna's letter doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of a broader congressional strategy that has been building since 2023. The Senate's version of the 2024 NDAA originally included Senator Chuck Schumer's UAP Disclosure Act, which would have created a review board modeled on the JFK Assassination Records Act, with presumption of disclosure and a defined timeline. That provision was significantly weakened in conference committee, reportedly due to opposition from key House members and lobbying from defense contractors. But the underlying coalition didn't dissolve, it adapted. Rather than pursuing sweeping legislation, members like Luna, Burchett, and Senate allies like Kirsten Gillibrand and Mike Rounds have shifted to targeted pressure, specific demands, specific documents, specific videos. It's harder to deflect a request for 46 enumerated items than it is to stonewall a philosophical call for openness. We should be careful here about speculation, but we're not operating in a vacuum. Based on AARO reports, pilot testimony, and descriptions provided in classified briefings that members of Congress have subsequently discussed in general terms, the unreleased videos likely fall into several categories. Some reportedly show objects tracked at hypersonic speeds with no visible propulsion or thermal exhaust signature, a physical impossibility for any known human technology. Others allegedly capture objects transitioning between air and water without deceleration. Several are said to involve near-miss encounters with military aircraft, raising direct flight safety concerns that transcend the question of origin. Representative Matt Gaetz, after attending a classified briefing in 2023, stated publicly that he had seen footage that was, in his words, clearly not of any human origin that I'm aware of. Whether these 46 videos would, if released, confirm such assessments is unknown. But the fact that AARO itself could not resolve them suggests they are, at minimum, deeply anomalous. The precedent of the Navy videos is instructive, but also misleading. Those 3 videos were leaked by a former intelligence officer, published by a major newspaper, and only then acknowledged by the government. The release was reactive, not proactive. What Luna is demanding is fundamentally different: proactive declassification, initiated by congressional authority. The closest historical parallel might be the Church Committee hearings of the 1970s, which forced the release of CIA and FBI documents revealing domestic surveillance programs. That process took years and faced enormous institutional resistance. But it happened because Congress exercised its constitutional oversight authority and refused to accept "trust us" as an answer. The UAP disclosure movement is now at a similar inflection point. The executive branch has been given years to self-disclose. It hasn't. Congressional patience is visibly eroding. The next 60 to 90 days will be telling. Secretary Hegseth has not, as of this writing, publicly responded to Luna's letter. The DoD has several options: comply in full, comply in part with redactions, invoke executive privilege, or simply run out the clock. Congress, in turn, has tools: subpoena authority, budget leverage, and the power to hold officials in contempt. Whether the current Oversight Committee leadership has the political will to use those tools remains an open question. But the dynamic has shifted. The UAP issue is no longer a fringe concern. It's a matter of constitutional governance, whether elected representatives can access and share information that the public has a right to know. 46 videos sit in classified vaults. The Pentagon knows what's on them. Congress is demanding answers. And for the first time in this long, strange saga, the pressure may actually be sufficient to break the dam. The footage exists. The question is whether democracy can compel its release.